Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of No Names All Game. Today is January 4th, your first episode of 2023, and we are doing it as Rose Bowl champs. My name is Chris Hankin, joined as always by my co-host Pat Colicchio. Happy New Year. Welcome back. Congrats on a win. We did it, guys. All of us. We did it. We were on the field, and it was amazing. We had a lot of fun. We're going to talk about it. Pat was there in LA at the game. Pat, give us the rundown. How was the experience?
Oh, happy New Year. It is, my friend. Got to hang out at the Penn State LA alumni tailgate with a bunch of good people. Shout out. I was passing out stickers that Chris ordered to a couple of fans in the stands. One of them, already a listener, recognized
Hell yeah.
us, forgot your name. Pretty sure I want to say Adam, but shout out to you. You should be listening, so you know it's you.
All right.
But yeah, it was cool to meet you, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things. Obviously one of the biggest things on television is looked highly skewed to Utah. It was like 75% of the stadium was Utah fans, which we kind of expected it. We talked about this on the episode that we did with the Utah Fans Football Podcast. They're a lot closer. This is their second year in the Rose Bowl, second year Pac-12 champs. They have a lot of momentum. We knew they were going to travel well. I expected Penn State to travel a little bit better, to be honest. But I did see somebody put out a map on Twitter that showed like the ticket allotment, and like the Penn State ticket allotment was basically the 25-30% of the stadium that we had covered. So I don't think it's too big of a deal, but what was your experience? Was it overwhelmingly Utah? Did you have a good, group of Penn Staters? What was it like?
So, I was in the end zone and not I was on the complete opposite side of the stadium as the Penn State section.
Oh,
so
damn.
I was mostly surrounded by Utah people with some Penn Staters. Yeah, it did definitely look overwhelmingly Utah, but I will say, and the Penn State moments, it was loud for how few people we had. We felt every bit as loud, if not louder, than the Utah fans.
That's awesome. Yeah, that. we could hear some of those chants on TV for sure. And how was the experience with the Utah fans? Good people? Any good stories?
Super
or anything?
Nice. Yeah, super nice. There were, a couple of kids in front of us who were younger guys, kind of jabronis, but they were for that, they weren't too bad. But Everyone was very nice. I did win. I won a beer off a Utah fan who I bet that we would score first. So thank you, Mitchell Tinsley and Sean Clifford.
Yeah. Listen, man, a beer won is sweeter than a beer paid for, obviously.
Listen, I was worried after we punted on that first possession.
Yeah, it was a little tough. So let's get into the game. Obviously a fantastic finish. We win 35-21 in pretty dominant fashion from the second half on. Finished the season 11-2, which we've said many times over the last month or so as the season was coming to a close, any one of us would have signed up for before the season. So I'm happy, man. I'm happy. And I'll talk a little bit more about some other things and some of my feelings throughout the season and how it changes to now as we get into it. But let's start, as we always do, with our Lion Award. If you haven't listened before, the Lion is the MVP of the game. I have a feeling, Pat, we might have the same one here. Is it who I'm thinking it is?
We're stiff for him. I am stiff for Cliff. Sean Clifford, my Lion, my guy, has a great performance. Completes 73% of his passes for 280 yards, a couple of touchdowns, had some really great throws in there. He did not just manage this offense through this game. He played really well. He made some big throws and he made some long throws. He looked as close to perfect as I've ever seen him in a Penn State uniform. A couple of sacks here, and they didn't look like pocket performance. He is a Lion for his personality, his heart, his just everything about him, his ability as a leader. He is my Lion, and I feel vindicated.
Yeah, as you should. I'm gonna rename this award for this moment. This is the first ever No Names All Game Lifetime Achievement Award going to Sean Clifford. He's my Lion as well. There's no one else to give it to. There were some good performances in this game, don't get me wrong. But this was the best game of his life on a huge stage. Virtually no mistakes. You talked about some of the nice passes, on the seams to Theo, to the Mitch touchdown, to Warren. The deep ball to Keandre Lambert-Smith is the highlight. But to me, the play where he scrambles and finds Keandre for like 30 yards to keep that drive alive is one of, if not the best play of his career. We have criticized him so much for his pocket awareness and collapsing at times. I mean, this is a play. It's 3rd and 8. It's the second quarter of a 7-7 game. He sees 2 of his linemen get beat, feels it, spins out, keeps his eyes downfield, squares his body enough to deliver a good ball. That leads to a touchdown. Like, if we don't convert there, Utah gets the ball back, this game could be very different. So it was really nice, very emotional on the curtain call, which was beautiful. I love that Franklin gave him that moment. I was crying, watching him cry. It was just really cool. I think the one thing I want to say is it's okay to be wrong on takes. We live in this world on the internet where people die on hills because they want to be right or they want to be committed to the bit or whatever it is. I am so happy that I was wrong. I wanted Sean Clifford benched after Purdue. I wanted to go Drew full time after the Ohio State loss. It wasn't always pretty, but Sean finished his career with 11-2 season and a pretty perfect Rose Bowl win. Like, I'm glad I was wrong. Like, do I think this changes his professional outlook? Not really. Like, maybe he gets, an opportunity in NFL camp, or maybe he goes and plays in another league, CFL, XFL, whatever it is. Maybe if he wants to, maybe he just focuses on his business, his NIL business. I don't know. But I'm really happy for him. And I'm really thankful and appreciative for what he gave us in this season. And like that, I'm not going to beat the point to death. We've done it enough, but like, thank you, Sean Clifford. Thank you.
That's right, baby. And, I referenced like his kind of career as a starter in our podcast with the Utah guys as like a bit of a turd sandwich. But let's be clear. That sandwich is on 2 pieces of very artisanal 11-2 bread. New Year's 6.
The best bread you can buy. The best bread you can buy.
That's right.
Yeah, it was really cool. All of the pictures. Shout out to all like the photographers from the different media outlets. Have some really great shots of him. During his curtain call, after the game, he went back out, like pad still on, kind of took a knee, took it all in. There was one, I forget the woman's name, I'm blanking, but she posted a video of the moment he finds his family, goes up, like hugs his girlfriend, gives his mom a rose, hugs her. It was really, really beautiful, and I'm glad Cliff got his moment. So Cliff, you are a lion. You have received the first ever No Names All Game Lifetime Achievement Award, and we wish you the best of luck going forward. We'd love to have you on the show sometime after all of this is over. Once you settle down a little bit, we'd love to chat with you. All right, let's get into awards. I have like 4, I think, just because I kept going. We can just talk about them as topics afterwards, but
right.
But let's start as awards. What's your first award? What do you got?
I'm going with the Old Man Award.
The Old Man Award. Okay.
It's not Sean Clifford.
Yep. So this is the seniors. Is this Jair Brown? Is this
not what you think.
PJ Mustafer? Is this?
It's not what you think, Chris. So,
okay. What is it?
As we get old, things in our bodies start to sag and droop. And as an old man, one of the saggiest parts is always going to be the ball bag. You get to a certain age, and all you're left with is a couple of long balls, just like our friend Keandre Lambert-Smith, who only brings 3 receptions yesterday, but for an average of 41 yards. I mean, a couple of long balls, like 35 and 88, off to the races. Just nothing but long balls for Keandre Lambert-Smith.
That might be my favorite name of an award on the season. You are the creative one here. You are the comedian on this show, and my hat is off to you, sir. That was well done. But yeah, Keandre Lambert-Smith, 3 for 124. I believe they said that was the longest pass touchdown in Rose Bowl history. That 88-yarder. And I mentioned before, credit goes to Sean for probably the best deep ball of his career. That was really beautiful. Kind of stepped in, put it right where it needed to be. But hell of a route by Keandre to get open and burn that defense. He goes on to do a nice little fake hamstring celebration. The initial broadcast cut it off, but we found a clip. We put it out on Twitter. Very, very funny. Also a great moment from him after that touchdown or whatever. He's on the sideline and he's talking into the camera. Did you see this one? He goes, "What does he do? What is a Ute? Don't mess with me. Rose Bowl champs. What is a Ute? One guy on Twitter was telling me that was like disrespectful. I was like, shut up, dude. It was very entertaining. And then that other play that I mentioned, Cliff's nicest play, that was Keandre kind of getting open and extending a play, right? When a play breaks down and a quarterback scrambles, like a receiver's job is find empty space and give your quarterback a chance. And he did that. So I think this was a huge game for him because, receiver is one of our big questions going into next year. And you want him to step up and be the number one guy. I mean, he showed you he's got what it takes. So, yeah, shout out Keandre Lambert-Smith. I love that. All right, mine is, I think I've given this award, and I might have actually given it to this person, but I'm giving it again, is the Passing of the Torch Award. It is not Sean Clifford to Drew Aller. It is someone else. Any guesses?
So this was going to be my next award, and I wonder if it's the same person. I'm guessing Kalen King.
It is Kalen King. What's the name of your award? We can give it a double.
I was also going with the Passing of the Torch.
Amazing. Yes. So this is, I think I gave this one out when Joey first went out with the appendicitis thing because Kalen came in and had a great game. I think. But this just, again, we knew Kalen was special as a true freshman. He played a lot as a true freshman, played really well. This year, what does he do? Just casually leads the country in pass breakups, 18. Fantastic. On the biggest stage, he comes up with a huge interception early in the game, an athletic interception. He's diving to make that play. It's fucking gorgeous. And that completely changes the momentum. I can't imagine. I mean, on TV, he was slow-mo floating through the air, catching it. It was beautiful.
And that leads to no way he came down. You know what I mean? That's the kind of play in person where you're just like, oh yeah, what?
Oh, nice. He had a chance. Yeah. But that led to our first touchdown. That was a huge momentum shift early in the game that needed to happen, and Kalen is taking that torch. We know Joey Porter Jr. is going to be, this is the big story, he's going to be the first Penn State corner taken in the first round ever, I believe. We've had maybe safeties back in the day in the 40s or 50s, I don't know. But the first corner to be taken in the first round from Penn State. And I don't think we're going to have to wait very long for another. I'm calling it right now. I think Kalen will be a first rounder next year. I think he's that good. And being the CB1 on a team next year with Joey gone, I mean, all the spotlight will be on him. So Kalen King, take a bow, hold that torch, and I can't wait to see what you do next year. All right. I know I kind of stole your second award there. Do you have any others?
Yeah, I'm going with the Neon Award.
The who?
The Neon Award.
Neon. Like neon colors?
Like Neon Dion.
Neon Dion, okay.
Who was, of course, prime time. There's one thing primetime players do, Christopher. They make primetime plays.
Yes, sir.
And I think very few people made as many primetime plays this past week than Nicholas Singleton.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, 120 yards on just 7 carries.
It's insane.
And it was 87-yard touchdown. Had a couple of big first down runs and another touchdown in there. The first touchdown of the game. Won me a beer. Got us on the board. I mean, this kid looks so special. He's showing things at this point in the season that he was not showing at the beginning. He has, to come in and be as good as he was at the beginning of the season was, the high end of expectations. And to have improved as much as he has, man, is really, in such a short period of time, as a true freshman, is insane to watch. Future's bright.
Yeah. This
is neon bright.
Great name of the award again. This is his national coming out party. I don't think he was a secret at this point. A lot of people knew about him. He's on ESPN's True Freshman All-America list. He's gotten some other nods on national All-America lists. But this, on the brightest stage, every account in the world was tweeting it. ESPN, Barstool, Bleacher Report, anyone who was a sports-related account was tweeting that 87-yard run. And everyone, he's a true freshman. Oh my God, he's a true freshman. And for people who aren't super familiar with Penn State, I was reading through the comments and they're like, damn, this kid's Saquon special. Yeah, we know that. Now you do too. So you're going to see a lot of already the dark horse Heisman talk and all that. But let's just enjoy kind of what it is. It was awesome to see him have that moment. I put out a tweet. Went semi-viral for our standards, couple hundred likes of the three runs, his Saquon's and Kajana Carter's, all big time in the Rose Bowl. Very different runs. You're not comparing them. They're all beautiful. They're all my favorite kids. But it was a beautiful moment. It was very funny too on the broadcast. Who was it? Chris Fowler. Singleton is broken it off. He is very far away from any defender. And Chris Fowler goes, "He's in a foot race." No, he's not. He's gone.
Oh, they're still running after him. It's still a foot race.
Yeah.
He's won it, but it's still happening.
Yeah. So shout out Nick Singleton. That was awesome. I have two more real ones and then kind of a joke one. So I'm gonna go with the real ones. This is the Swan Song Award. This man delivered his Swan Song in a beautiful way. A guy that's leaving us. It's Jair Brown. I love Jair Brown. All the focus was on Cliff for his curtain call. Rightfully so. That's his moment. It's his game. He's the star. But this was a big moment for a lot of seniors. A lot of guys playing in their last game as Penn Staters. Some guys playing in their last game ever as football. Guys that aren't going to go to the NFL. But maybe none bigger than Take Brown, as they call him. This is a JUCO kid who came into Penn State, balled out last year. Him and Brisker. They were fantastic together. He could have left last year. I think he would have been a mid-round pick. I don't even think it would have been a day 3. I think he probably would have been a day 2 pick. But he came back and just dominated. He dominated this year. He was the leader of that defense. He makes plays that safeties don't make. He finishes with, let me look here, 8 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 1 interception. The sack that he had was beautiful. He kind of Euro steps the tackle, gets in there and just brings the quarterback down. That's just safety playing like an edge rusher on the line. The interception was the ball was kind of thrown up, not a great throw, but he was right there in center field playing that position like he does. In my eyes, this guy's a Penn State legend. I am so happy we got him for multiple years, and I can't wait to see what he does in the NFL. So Jair Brown, great Swan Song. Thank you for everything.
Love that. There are a few things that I love as much as a playmaking safety, and Jair Brown is nothing if not that. The guy has a nose for the ball. He could, you're right. He not only does he get interceptions, but he can make moves at the line of scrimmage and sack the quarterback, bring down running backs for a tackle for loss. He hits. He does it all, man. He is going to be a special talent in the NFL.
Yeah, and he was rewarded. He was the defensive MVP of the game, with Sean obviously being the overall MVP, the offensive MVP. So shout out Jair Brown. All right, I have 2 more. Can we run through them, or do you have any others?
I'll do one more.
Oh, you got him. I love this. You're prepared. What do you got?
Go with the Steady Eddie Award.
Steady Eddie.
Katron? Not quite. So this is a
Mitch.
This is a terminology that, yes.
Yeah, Mitch. It took me a minute, but I got there. Yeah, all right, go ahead.
Terminology that James Franklin likes to use every season on a guy, and it's more complimentary than it sounds, because it sounds kind of like ho-hum, whatever. But for him, it's the guy you can always count on, the guy who will always be able to make the play. That was Mitchell Tinsley this game. He didn't put up gaudy numbers. He had 49 yards, but he lead the team in receptions with 6, 8 yards a catch, a big-time touchdown. When a play had to be made, Mitch Tinsley was there to make that play. And that's who he was all season.
Yeah, I completely agree. He announced today on Twitter, formally declaring for the NFL. He's out of eligibility, couldn't come back, but just kind of made the formal statement to say his thank yous and announce he's declaring. And that was my reaction. It was we got 1 year out of the guy, obviously as a transfer, but it was so nice and comforting of he's there. Yeah, maybe he's not the big, huge, massive play guy, but he's always there when you need him. He's reliable. He's sure-handed. He makes plays in the open field. It was fun to see him get that touchdown early on, which was really nice. He had a great play later in the game where he almost broke it for a second one, deep in the red zone, kind of shook the defender, but then just got tripped up at the very end. And he's a guy who I'm excited to see what his NFL journey looks like. We'll have another episode in the next week or two breaking down kind of all the end of the season NFL stuff. So we won't go into that too much here. But he's one of those guys who, like, you know, mid-round talent, but can turn some heads at the next level. So shout out Mitchell Tinsley. All right, one kind of jokey award. I had to throw this in there because I liked it. Then I'll get to my last real one. This is the icing on the cake award. It goes to my boy Chris Stoll. He is just a fun guy that for some reason, like, people love. Sean Fitz of formerly of 24/7, now of On3, is like Chris Stoll's biggest fan. Always tweets about him. He's our long snapper, if you didn't know. He won long snapper of the year this year. Probably has an NFL future, right? Long snappers are far and few between. If you are a good one, you will get a job. So good for him. But him running down that Barney Amore punt and downing it on the one was the icing on the cake. A signature moment on the national stage for a long snapper is just it's so fucking awesome. So I wanted to give him a quick shout out there.
Great moment. In person, couldn't tell that was Chris Stoll because it's the opposite end zone, and they don't announce like who downs the punt. No clue, but what a play.
Yeah, that was fun. All right, then my last award and possibly my most serious outside of our boy Cliff. This is the Stop and Smell the Roses award.
Stop and smell the roses. So I have to imagine it's going to an older guy.
This man is older for sure. I'll give you a hint. He's not a player.
Is it James Franklin?
It's going to James Franklin, man. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know Pat and I are James Franklin fans. If you're new to this podcast, hi, we're James Franklin fans. I tweeted out today, like, you know, we're going to talk in a couple months about what he has to do going forward and the challenges he has to overcome and all that kind of stuff. But, like, let's take a minute and give this man his flowers. Stop and smell the roses. Like, you look back over the course of the last 6-7 years, 2016 Big Ten champs, 2017 Fiesta Bowl champs, 2019 Cotton Bowl champs, 2022 Rose Bowl champs. Like, it's not the pinnacle, right? You're still gonna hear the buzz of, hey, you got to beat Ohio State, Michigan, you got to beat top ranked teams, you have to win the Big Ten again, you have to get to the playoffs, and all that's true. But this man's given us a Big Ten championship and 3 New Year's 6 wins in the last 7 seasons. That's pretty damn good. So yeah, James, stop, smell the roses, have a beer, enjoy this moment with your family, with your staff, with your players. You deserve it. Like, thank you for what you've done for us. Also, a hilarious moment caught on the broadcast. Towards the end of the game, he called a timeout. I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but he called a timeout and he was like getting booed for it. And a hot mic caught him and he goes, "Boo, fuckers!" Like, it's just fucking awesome. He's had a couple of really funny, like, sideline moments over the years, some gifs that have caught him like mad or angry. And it was so fun to see them douse him in the Gatorade bath, cover him in the rose petals. His staple reaction that if you douse him in a Gatorade bath, he's going to tackle you. Did that to I think it was like Cam Brown a couple of years ago. Just tackled the shit out of him after it. This time, I think it was Jair Brown. I don't know. Someone dumps it on him and he just runs and tackles the guy. But, like, you can tell he has so much fun with this team. He loves his team. Like, he hears a lot of bullshit, you know, in the season. Some of it warranted, some of it unwarranted. It's not going to change until you win a national championship. That's just the sport we're in. But I don't know. I want to shout out James Franklin and give him this award because it's been pretty good.
Yeah, and you know what? Obviously there is room for Coach Franklin to improve. But if you take an honest look at where he is now and where he was when he got hired as our coach, I think you see massive improvement. We don't see those clock issues that we dealt with sometimes at the beginning of his career. I think the play calling is oftentimes better than it was at the beginning. I think the coordinator hires have been home runs. I think you're seeing better position coach hires. And you know, beyond that, I forget who I was talking to about this past weekend, but everything that we say that we love about Penn State football, about this program, James Franklin is all of it. He's a winner. Yeah. He does it the right way. There's been no, legitimate scandal under this man. He graduates players. He brings in high character people like Sean Clifford, people like Olu Fashanu, who could be a first round pick, but is coming back to finish his degree. We're not throwing NIL money at players to come here. You don't see the wild amount of opt-outs for bowl games that a lot of other universities experience because guys buy into him and they buy into this program, and the team matters more than them individually. Every recruit that comes up here, when people ask me, why did you choose Penn State? The first thing I hear every single one of them say is it's all about family there. He makes it about family. These are all the class, the family aspect, the winning. These are all the things that we are obnoxiously love about Penn State football, that we hang our hat on, that people hate us for. He's all of them. So I'm tired of hearing, there are legitimate criticisms that can be made of this guy, but I'm tired of hearing some of the hate that he gets. It's ridiculous. He is a very good coach. He is a great guy. He runs a hell of a program.
Amen, brother. Amen. All right. So that wraps up our awards for this Rose Bowl. I think we've talked about pretty much everything. I have a couple of notes, a couple of stats that we can run through here to kind of round out the episode. But fun game, fun season, a ton to look forward to. We'll talk about in this offseason. We will, what's the word I'm looking for here? Hypotheticalize, if that's a word, or dream about and project and everything what Drew Aller is going to bring to us. That was a really nice moment too. Sean and Drew kind of embracing, and Sean giving him a slap on the ass saying, "Get in there. It's your time now." So we've got a lot of that coming in the off season. Last year I did hardly anything in the off season. Had some life stuff going on. I promise you guys we will have a big off season this year. Lots of episodes, hopefully lots of guests, lots of cool things. But before we wrap up, I sound like I'm wrapping up. There's some other stuff to talk about. I think one of the biggest things, it wasn't like a huge question on Twitter, but it definitely popped up. And I'm curious your thoughts of kind of being in the stadium and feeling it from an energy side. Obviously, third quarter, I believe it was, Utah's quarterback, Cam Rising, gets hurt, leaves the game, cannot finish. They have to bring in the backup, Barnes, I think his name was. How much do you think Cam Rising going out affected this game? And do we think the score would be closer, would be different if he were able to play the whole thing?
Yeah. So full disclosure, I was in line for the bathroom when Cam Rising got hurt. So I came back and had no idea he was playing for until he threw that interception.
Yeah. You didn't notice that the guy wasn't running all over us anymore?
I was like, yeah, it's looking a lot better.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be clear. Cam Rising wasn't having some tremendous game.
Correct.
He was 8 for 21 when he left the game for 95 yards, the 4.5 yard average, and an equal touchdown interception ratio. He was hurting us with his legs and his ability to extend plays, occasionally hitting a pass off his ability to extend plays. But if you ask me, that would have probably lessened as the game went on, as you saw it happen. His offensive line got a little more tired. Manny Diaz started bringing more pressure. Now, it's possible Manny Diaz dialed up even more pressure because he's dealing with a backup. Sure. But as far as pure passing goes, Bryson Barnes was every bit as good as Cam Rising. I think the game would have been closer with Cam Rising in because he is a playmaker. He has the ability to extend plays with his feet, but he was not looking that great through the air. And end of the day, he doesn't stop a couple 80-yard touchdowns from happening. You could say all you want about the situational football, and the situation does change based on where we are in the game, the field position, everything like that. But I mean, Utah made some mistakes on defense, and that was probably the biggest difference here.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Like you mentioned, he was hurting us with the legs a little bit. 9 carries for 59 yards. A lot of the talk on Twitter was from Penn State fans saying he gave us kind of Trace McSorley vibes of scrappy gamer, being able to just extend things. And he was doing that. There was that one really bad series for us on defense early on. The tackling was abysmal in the first half. We got that fixed in general in the second half. But that one bad series, it's 3rd and 10. The pressure gets there to Rising. He launches his up, and Marquise Wilson just loses the ball. They get a big gain off of it, and then the next play or the next couple plays, the running back takes it to the house. that to me was more of a defensive failure on our side. Like the first touchdown that Utah had, I wasn't really worried. I was like, oh, whatever. This one, the second one, was the only time I was nervous because I was like, damn, we are getting to Cam Rising. He's not really beating us through the air, and we still just kind of let up a long touchdown because of that. So I agree. I don't think the game. I think we still win the game. Maybe it's a little bit closer. We won. What did we win by 2 scores? Maybe it's a 1-score game. But I was curious if like there was any energy shift from the Utah fans, if they were like kind of giving up after it happened, if anything changed in the stadium.
No, it wasn't right after it happened. It definitely wasn't until, it became a 35-14 game that it was kind of like, we give up.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, that last touchdown maybe doesn't happen if Penn State is playing all its starters on defense and like, you know what I mean? Not giving up garbage time touchdowns. And the second one they got even is like, I'm not going to hang my hat if I'm a Utah fan on that touchdown happening over and over again, where Marquise Wilson falls over and like, if if the roles were reversed and a defender did that to a wide receiver, it's pass interference. And then just a bunch of broken tackles for like a touchdown. That's not what I forecast as like their ability to score for the rest of the game. Like they're not a big play offense in general.
Yep.
Our
that's
backs are generally better than that,
Yep, and that's why I said like that was the only moment I felt a little bit worried because it was so uncharacteristic of us. Like I wasn't worried about their offense. I wasn't worried about like, oh, Cam Rising's going to start throwing bombs and tearing us up. Like that was Marquise Wilson was in because I think it was when Johnny Dixon got hurt momentarily. So normally that's probably Johnny Dixon. Maybe he makes a play on that ball. Maybe it's an interception. I'm not blaming Marquise. Shit happens. It is what it is. But yeah, that was the moment where I was just like, is this going to be one of those games where just things aren't going our way? Like, we're the better team right now. We're not quite getting the pressure, but we're getting better. The tackling is getting better. Like, is this going to be the script of the game where things just go weird for them? So yeah, like I wasn't worried about that. It is what it is for a touchdown. And then their last touchdown was, like you said, kind of against, some backups and whatnot. Did cash the over for a lot of people, so that probably helped. But yeah, it was. I don't think it changes the game. We look at some other notes here. Defense finishes with 6 sacks total. Chop Robinson, 1.5 sacks on his birthday. Shout out Chop. Curtis Jacobs, 2 sacks. Big game for Curtis Jacobs. Said in a post game interview that this team looks good, looks ready for a national championship next year. And they asked him, what does that mean for you coming back? He said it's enticing. So we will hang on that one word until he makes his official decision. But yeah, the defense played really, really well in the second half, and I don't think it changes a lot if Cam Rising's in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the potential that it does because the kid's a playmaker and he can be special at times. And you get the feeling that, like, it's possible that he would have had a better second half than first half. But it's nowhere near the type of game where I go, yeah, they would have won if Cam Rising doesn't get hurt.
Right. Completely agree. I think our offense really started clicking. We already said shout out to Cliff for some great throws. The running backs played really well. Shout out Katron Allen, muscled in for a touchdown. They had 12 men on the field. I almost gave that award, 12 angry men. They had 12 men on the field in the T formation, by the way. We scored 2 touchdowns in the damn T formation. That was another thing the national media was losing their mind about. They were like, just wait till Lincoln Riley gets to the Big Ten and has to deal with this shit. So that was fun. Katron loved that. The receivers did well. So I think our offense was clicking. I don't think it would have changed anything. And I think, shout out to our defense. Like realistically, we gave up one really good touchdown drive, one fluky one where, the Marquise Wilson play and we can't tackle, and then one at the end of the game, like garbage time. I have no qualms about that. I was very frustrated first half because we were missing tackles and just, I don't know if that's nerves. I don't know if that's you're trying to make a big play in this national spotlight. I don't know. It is what it is. But Manny Diaz got it fixed, and this was a fantastic game. I think that's all I got. I'm looking at my notes. I think I've run through kind of everything. Like I said, shout out Nick and Katron. The receivers played well. The tight ends played well. We've got a couple of NFL decisions that we're waiting on. Curtis Jacobs is one. Theo Johnson recently said that he's leaning towards coming back. I never even thought he would think about leaving, to be honest. I think, with Brenton leaving, Theo comes back. He's number 1 tight end. I think he's very good. I don't think he's quite NFL ready yet. So we'll wait on that. And then I think Adisa Isaac is probably the only other one we're waiting on. Curtis Jacobs, Theo Johnson, Adisa Isaac. I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, Theo Johnson has, shown NFL flashes, has NFL ability, but has not put up NFL numbers at this point in his career. So it would be a little surprising to see him go when he could have a year next year where he can put up some big numbers.
Yeah, and he'll be like we saw what Brenton did this year as the number one. Like, yes, this is a tight end committee, the aces, right? They all kind of get in, but Brenton was that guy for a lot of big moments this year. And when scouts are reviewing his tape, they're going to see that. They're going to see the Purdue touchdown where he, extended the play and pushed people off him where he scored. They're going to see those sure-handed catches where he's converting first downs. They're going to see all of that, and that's what Theo can be next year. So, like I said, we'll break down all of that more kind of once the official decisions come out and everything. But yeah, I think this is a good place to wrap it. Your Penn State Nittany Lions finished the 2022 season 11-2, a 35-21 victory in the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, the last true Rose Bowl with Big Ten Pac-12 tie-ins. Next year is a playoff site, and then we go into a 12-team playoff. So pretty fucking cool. Pretty fucking cool. That's all I got to say. What else you got for us, Pat?
Yeah, thank you guys for hanging with us all season. It was such a better season than I predicted, than we've had the past 2 years. I mean, a real pleasure to, a couple of down moments, but a real pleasure to be able to cover this season, and just gives you so much hope looking forward. We appreciate you guys, like, subscribe, all the things that help us keep going on this podcast, give us the reviews, whatever. I will call out Sup Caroline a little bit, who said on Twitter that I had committed to grabbing a drink with her in LA and then was nowhere to be found.
When, ooh, Caroline. But, I mean, listen, she did post pictures today with Sean Clifford and Nick Singleton and Chop Robinson. She was a very popular person.
People than me.
Yes, that's what listen. I wasn't going to say it that way, but she's a very. She met Manny Diaz's stepmom. Yeah. She met a lot of people. So I'm not saying you're not important, Pat, but she's got almost 10,000 followers for a reason. So, Caroline, we love you. We'll have Caroline on in the off season. We're going to have a bunch of guests on. My goal this offseason is to bring some people on this show, get maybe some former players, some people in the Penn State Twitter world, some people in the Penn State media. If you guys have things you want to see, if you have people you want to hear from, let us know. Excuse me. I love everyone who listens to this show. We're not the biggest by any means. We have a small group of people who enjoy this, and we appreciate the hell out of it. Pat, love doing this with you. Appreciate you for everything this season. But for the people who listen, this is our outlet. This is how we enjoy our Penn State football fandom, and we hope we bring you a little bit of enjoyment too. So happy New Year. Congrats on a Rose Bowl championship, maybe is the right word. And look for some cool stuff this off season. For the last time this season, we are.